Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to start writing the Lambda function that belongs to the restaurant agent. So please log in to your AWS console and navigate to Amazon Bedrock. You should have it in the recently visited over here, or you can type it in the search bar. And we're going to be working on this Lambda function. Remember, we have already uploaded the CSV into S3, so everything is ready for our Lambda function to be written. And let's go to Builder Tool and Agents. And I'm going to go to the Bedrock Restaurant Agent. Remember, these three are the ones that I created prior to this course, so don't worry about that. You should only have the Bedrock Restaurant Agent. Okay, so click into it. And then click on Edit in Agent Builder. And then find Action Groups. And over here, you should have the action group. And as you can see, if you haven't changed this, this is the Lambda function belonging to this action group. So you can just click on this View button, and this is going to redirect you to that Lambda function. Okay. And you can actually find this Lambda function separately. If you go to Lambda, you type in Lambda functions in the search console, and then you find it. But this is easier. Remember, this is some pre-built Lambda function for us. So there's going to be a few things that we need and a few things that we don't need additionally. So first, let's start by defining our S3 bucket. Because remember, that's where our restaurants.csv file is. So I'm going to type in search here S3, open link in new tab, and let's find our bucket. Mine was this. Remember, this one has the restaurant.csv, and mine was Bedrock Agents bucket course. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and you copy your own bucket name. And let's come back over here to the Lambda function. And right outside the Lambda handler, I'm going to define S3 underscore bucket, and that is going to be equal to my Bedrock Agents bucket course. Make sure you don't have any spaces. And then I'm going to say the S3 underscore key. I'm going to go back to my bucket, and I'm going to copy this because the key is restaurant.csv. And I'm going to paste it in over here. So now we know, we have our bucket and our key where our database is, which is currently a CSV. Okay. So now I'm going to come over here, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to print Lambda function started. Okay, so when we run this, it's going to print this out. And now let's delete everything, okay? And let's write this from scratch. Okay, so now we have the print. And under that, let's put everything in a try block. And so let's try and extract the parameters safely. Okay, agent is going to be equal to event.get, and it's going to be the agent. As you can see, I have Amazon Q enabled, so that's like an autocomplete. It's like a code suggester. And what we're doing right now, actually, I'm going to do single. Sometimes it's really annoying, the Amazon Q, but I'm going to do single. So this essentially is we're getting the agent from the event. So when this Lambda gets triggered, we need to get the agent, and we need to get the action group, and we need to get the function and the parameters. Okay, and the reason we need that is because essentially we're going to have to send everything back in the response body. And now I'm going to say, but if that didn't make sense, don't worry about it because we'll get there soon. I'm going to say that the action group is going to be equal to event.get, and we're going to get the action group. Otherwise, it's going to be simply empty. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to do single quotes here in the agent as well. So over here, we haven't done anything. We're just getting the agent and the action group, the function, which is going to be equal to event.getFunction. As you can see, Amazon Q did the autocomplete for me. And then let's do the parameters, which is event.get parameters. However, the parameters are inside a list. So we need to change this to a list like this. So essentially what we did here is we're getting all the information required from the event. And if we come back over here to our agent, we're essentially just getting the action group that we have over here, the function, which is the list restaurants, the parameters. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And now what we're going to do is we're going to convert the parameter list into a dictionary. Okay, because the parameters that come in right now are in a list, but we want to convert that to a dictionary. So I'm going to say that the param underscore dict or dictionary is going to be equal to, and let's convert this into a Python dictionary, param, and then we access the, oh, actually Amazon Q is quite smart for doing this for us. So as you can see, the param dictionary is equal to, and we get the name and we get the value for param in parameters. So essentially all this does is it converts the parameter list that you have over here into a dictionary. Okay, so previously the parameters, which were city and fine dine, were in a list, but right now they're going to be in a dictionary. And you'll see why we need to get it into a dictionary. And it's going to happen just right now. So we're going to say that the city is going to be equal to the param dict.get city. And thank you, Amazon Q, for the autocomplete. So as you can see, the reason we want to convert it into a dictionary is because it's so much easier to access the items from a dictionary. And this is actually not, this is a none. So if we don't have the city, then we're just going to use the none parameter. But hopefully we will have the city, because remember, we made that requirement that both the city and the fine dine are required to be true. Okay? And so if we don't have that, the LLM should ask what the param is, what the city is and what the fine dine option is. And, so we technically should never get none over here, but this is just in case. Okay? Now, let's do the same thing for fine underscore dine. And as you can see, from the param dictionary, we're getting the fine dine, whether that's a yes or a no. And otherwise, if it's not specified, which shouldn't be the case, we're going to use none. Okay? By the way, I hope this makes sense so far, what we're doing. This really should be just some Python knowledge, so it shouldn't be anything new. Now let's print out the city and the fine dine. And if anyone is interested as to how you can turn on Amazon Q in your account, please reach out to me and I will help you. Right now, I'm still in the state of, I don't know whether Amazon Q is free or not, but by the time we get to the next video, I will have that answer for you. Okay, so we have now printed the city and the fine dine option. So this should be something like, maybe like Houston and yes or no, whatever. Okay, so this is for debugging purposes if we need to. Now let's initialize the Boto3 client. So I'm going to say that the S3 underscore client is going to be equal to Boto3 client. And as you can see, the Amazon Q just imported Boto3 for us on the fly. So if you haven't, make sure Boto3 is there for you. Awesome. And now let's read the CSV file from S3. And I'm going to take this suggestion. So the response is going to be equal to S3 client.get object. And the bucket is going to be the bucket that we specified over here. And the key is going to be the key that we specified over here. Okay, so now we have the response ready. We're just accessing the CSV, which is the restaurant CSV. Okay, awesome. Now that we have the response, let's actually get it into a CSV data format. Okay, so I'm going to say CSV data is going to be equal to, and I'm going to take this suggestion. We're going to access the body from the response, And then we're going to read it and decode it using UTF-8 decoding. So that's going to allow us to have this in a format that can be read in with the pandas data frame. Okay? And we can do df is going to be equal to pd.read CSV string.io CSV data. And as you can see, if we scroll back up, Amazon Q imported pandas for us. But this should not work because we have to add the pandas package to this Lambda function. Because right now, these Lambda functions are serverless, so Amazon doesn't add big packages to it, and pandas is actually a big package. So what we're going to do at this point, if we did this, this would error out because the Lambda environment does not have access to pandas. So even though we imported it, we need to essentially add it as a layer. Okay, so to do that, let's just deploy this, which means save it, so we don't lose our work so far. So as you can see, it has updated the function. And now let's scroll all the way down here. And as you can see for layers, we can add layers. So I'm going to add a layer over here, and we're going to find the pandas layers. So what you can do with these layers is it allows you to add additional libraries to your Lambda functions. Now, you can specify custom layers, which you can create in Python from wheel files, and then you have to zip them up in a specific format, and then you can use them. But the good thing for us is pandas is so common that AWS has created their own package for pandas. And so for some of these really, really common libraries like pandas, you're already going to have an AWS layer. So select the AWS layer. And right now, I'm going to choose pandas. As you can see, this is the AWS SDK for pandas. And then the version, it's version 16 for me. That's the latest. But if you're watching this in the future and it's a later version than 16, don't worry about it. It should work. And then now we add it. And right now, as you can see, successfully updated the function. And I'm going to X this out. And hopefully, if we scroll down, as you can see at layers, we now have the AWS SDK for pandas. So right now, this should work because, we imported pandas and we actually have pandas installed. Okay, so make sure you save this function, and we're not done yet because we just read in the CSV into a pandas data frame, but I will see you in the next video where we continue writing this function.